Good morning. I'm going to introduce our panel this morning and facilitate this portion. I'm going to do a quick introduction of each of our panel members, but really they're going to tell a little bit more about themselves and why they're here. They are all alumni from Aquinas. First is from class of 1974, Marty Kennedy, who is the Director of Operations for Harris Corporation here in Rochester. He is associated with the Colin F. Kennedy Foundation. Obviously, I'm going to tell you more about that. Holly Dutcher is class of 04, and she is Executive Director of the Pure Child Cancer Association. And finally, Bob Bleier, class of 82, who is founder of Montage Wealth Management and is associated with Camp Good Days and Special Times. So what I'm going to do now is pass the mic to each of our panelists and let them tell a little bit about themselves, their time at Aquinas, and how that kind of translated. You're sitting here today as part of your sophomore retreat. Obviously, I heard earlier talking about goodness, discipline, and knowledge, studying your faith here, and let them talk about how that translated into some of their, I'll use the word vocation. Obviously, Holly works in human services, and Marty and Bob have jobs that, well, that's a vocation, but that they take time in addition to that to do things that are important to them. So, Marty, would you be so kind as to start us off?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
I graduated in 1974. So, quick math. How long ago was that? Can anybody tell me? Long time. First answer.
45.
45. Thank you, math major. So as Jay so kindly introduced me and gave you a little bit of background, I came to Aquinas, and it was always my dream to go to Aquinas. My dad went to Aquinas, and when I was a little kid, I thought that big-time football was Aquinas football, because we used to go to Aquinas football games every weekend with 25,000 other people. And it was a big deal, and that started, not only that, looking at my dad's yearbooks, it just really, I had this fascination, and I wanted more than anything to go to Aquinas. And so I came here, I spent 4 years here, and I would say definitely 4 very important foundational years of my life. And I learned quite a bit from the Basilians and the lay faculty here at Aquinas. And I can think back, probably 2 of the most influential teachers that I had in my life were here at Aquinas. And one I always think about is Father Carl Bellish, who actually was not only my English teacher, but through him, in my junior year, I learned to love to read and love literature. And it's been something that stayed with me through my entire life. He also was my theology teacher. And he taught not only lessons from the Bible, both Old Testament and New Testament, but taught us lessons about life. And those things stick with me. And little secret, I'm a normal person, just like all of you. I'm no saint. I do bad things. I do a few good things to try and offset that. But I try and take the lessons that I got here and use them in my everyday life. Some of the things that I've experienced from Aquinas is the discipline that I was taught helped me be successful in the business world. When I was a freshman, you had to do 3 hours of homework a night. And I mean that seriously, literally. You always hear stories of people walking 10 miles to school uphill and had all, but we literally had homework every single night, and we didn't have study halls. So you had to do that homework at home. You weren't allowed to do it in jug. You had to keep your hands folded and on the desk during jug, so you couldn't do homework there either. Not that I was ever in jug, but I heard that's what they did. So, from there, that discipline, as I got into the professional world, things happen throughout the day in your job, and you have to take care of them. And taking care of them sometimes means working overnight, or sometimes means working well into the night, and working all weekend. And the study habits and the discipline I learned here, as I said earlier, was foundational and really prepared me for the working world. And I'd like to say, without being too vain, that I've been fairly successful. So, moving from that, how else has Aquinas influenced me? So, I'm going to tell you a little bit of bad news. I have 7 sons, The 6 oldest, let me tell you first, the bad news, all 7 went to McQuaid. So that's one of the big mistakes we made, sorry. The youngest, however, he saw the light, and he came and graduated from Aquinas. So that was salvation. So 3 generations of Kennedys, my dad, myself, my brother, and my youngest son. And so my 7 sons, the 6 older sons, were very disappointed when my younger son came here, and they got to experience Aquinas as well. And unfortunately, my number 4 son passed away when he was 22. And we grew up in the city. I still live in the city. My kids love the city, and they also love sports. And my son Colin, who passed away, his dream was to have a hockey tournament, a nice hockey tournament, a pond hockey tournament, where we could raise money to finance or support athletic endeavors in the city. And so the year after he passed away, his brothers got together, and they started the Colin Cup. It's been going on now. We just had our 11th year, and we've raised, I would say, about $150,000, and that money has gone to, there's another organization called Quad 8 for Kids, and what that does is that is all focused on inner city, and the Quad 8 is achievement through academics, arts, and athletics. And in the beginning, we sponsored some of their athletic programs, and now what we do is we really branch out to try, our mission is to really try and help, we focus on children, but really try to help kids obtain or get the opportunities they wouldn't have otherwise. So one of the things we do, near and dear to my heart as Aquinas, is we actually sponsor middle school scholarships. And 3 of your fellow Aquinas students are lucky recipients of that, the Jordan brothers and Jordan Spratt. And it's something we've been very proud of and very pleased with the way those guys have performed in school, and we plan to continue to do that. So I got an opportunity through my sons in the foundation to get back to Aquinas. So one final thing I'll leave with you is, it just in my conversations with Jay and trying to think about what does your faith mean to you, how does it inspire you or drive you to give back? And when I was a little boy, my name is Martin, and I'm actually, in the Catholic tradition, you're named after a saint. And I'm actually named after St. Martin de Porres. But the story that I always remember from my youth is from St. Martin of Tours. And St. Martin of Tours is famous for, he was a Roman soldier, and he was out in the bitterly cold winter riding his horse, and a beggar stopped him, and this beggar was wearing rags. And so St. Martin took off his cloak, cut it in half, and gave half to the beggar. Does anybody know who the beggar was? It's Jesus Christ. And the lesson there is that, I'm sure you've all heard it, whatever you do for the least of my brothers, that you do for me. And that's it in a nutshell. Thank you.
Quick question, out of curiosity, because I knew what it is, but has anybody ever heard of Quad 8 for Kids? Does anyone familiar with that at all? Okay, thank you. Holly.
Good morning. That's a little tough to follow. I don't know if I'm that inspirational. So to give you a little bit of background about myself, Jay gave you a little bit of information, but I graduated in 2004, which looking at you guys seems a lot longer ago than I thought it was. But I kind of found my calling at Aquinas. So I know everybody's used to, you guys have a nice day today that you're going to be out and about, but you get kind of tired of dressing up for school every day, right? So when I was a junior, we did a fundraiser for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and you could pay $5 and you could dress down, which everyone loves wearing jeans for a week, so you know, the cause is important certainly, but I just want to wear jeans for a week, so you fork over the $5. Well, this fundraiser was so successful that it went into a second week. Another $5, no big deal. As a student, you're sitting there thinking, well, I got to wear jeans for 2 weeks, so this is a good deal. At the end of the fundraiser, Make-A-Wish actually brought 2 children onto the stage, kind of like this, in front of the whole school to talk about the wishes that were granted. Because of the money that was raised during that fundraiser, 2 children got their wishes through Make-A-Wish. So they came in and they kind of presented to the students what they did. So in my free time, I'm a Make-A-Wish wish granter as well, but you know, you have this little 2 or 3-year-old little girl in her Cinderella dress, and she's talking about how she went to Disney, and that's lovely. But then there was an older young man. He must have been like, I want to say 12. Is anyone familiar with wrestling, like WWE?
Yeah.
He wanted to meet Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is kind of old. I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he was a big wrestler back then. So he went in front of the whole school and talked about how he went to go see Stone Cold Steve Austin. But the thing that resonated the most with me was his sister. So his sister, spoke to the whole school about how meaningful it was for her brother to be able to go meet Stone Cold Steve Austin and how appreciative she was for us paying $5 so that her brother could go meet Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the thing that really resonated with me was she was about my age and she was crying. So it kind of put into perspective that when a child is diagnosed with some kind of disease, it impacts the whole family. And it must have been pretty meaningful for somebody that's my age crying in front of an entire auditorium full of people. That was very eye-opening to me. So after that, I figured, this is definitely something that I want to get involved with. Excuse me. So, fast forward a little bit, and I went to St. Bonaventure for college, and I ended up being part of an entrepreneurial service group. It was called Students in Free Enterprise at the time, and now it's called Enacted. But basically, you do projects, and you serve the community while you're doing it. So because of my involvement with that, I ended up getting scholarships to college. And I ended up having a graduate assistantship that paid for my 5th year of college. So I got my master's degree in accounting, and it was paid for because I was serving the community around me and making a difference. One of my favorite things that we did is we went to the Bahamas, which I know sounds terrible. So we went to the Bahamas every January, and we went after Hurricane Katrina. And I don't even want to think about if you guys are alive during Hurricane Katrina right now, but everyone talks about the South in the United States and how the South was devastated, but we had this ongoing relationship with families in Freeport, Bahamas, and when we went, it was just demolished. It was just devastating. It's a third world country, of course, but there's people telling me that their mattresses and their dishes just floated out of their house when the island was flooding. So I thought, we've got to do something. So we did a survey of the population, and we were determining how many people were without mattresses and without beds. They were going to donate, the Archbishop Diocese was going to donate about 50 beds. Because of what we did in surveying the land and surveying the population, they found that the need was probably about 4 times greater than that. And because we kind of put together maps and we figured out that there's no street addresses, it was like the yellow house by the big rock. That's how we described the house. Because of what we did, 3 times as many people got beds. So they were no longer sharing beds, everybody in one family sleeping on one mattress. Everybody got their needs met because of, using your organizational knowledge and also wanting to make a difference in the community. So when I graduated from St. Bonaventure with my master's degree in accounting, I worked in public accounting for a little bit, worked in the industry a little bit, but I found that I wanted to do more. So if anybody's ever looking for volunteer opportunities, there's a website called communitywishbook.org, and it lists all the nonprofits in Rochester and what their needs are. So I was thinking back to my time at Aquinas, and I thought what really resonated with me, and it was that Make-A-Wish fundraiser. So I looked up, helping children with cancer, and I found Cure Childhood Cancer Association. And I started volunteering in December of 2010. It was at their holiday party, and I just fell in love with the organization and the mission and what we do. So I joined the board of directors shortly thereafter, and in January 2014, the executive director stepped down. I was on the board of directors, and I said, I'm going to throw my hat in the ring, kind of see if they'd hire me. I'm really young, it definitely made people nervous, but I thought, why not? Lo and behold, a couple months later, they hired me, and I've been with Cure 5 years in April. Moving my way up, of course, but I'm the executive director there. We've been through a lot of changes, but kind of the behind-the-scenes support. So parking passes, food vouchers. We just bought a new hot water tank for a family because they've been out of work because their child's been in the hospital and they couldn't afford it. So little things like that. But when I think back about, the past several years, I always come back to Aquinas and what I learned here. You all are going to be going through a lot of different charities and learning about the community and, just taking the knowledge of what you learned here, because obviously it's a great education, so I can use some of my tactical skills and things like that, but also, the meaningfulness of what you're doing. And I found that there was meaningfulness in helping local families that have children with cancer. Here I am. So.
Quick, again, who is here to Make-A-Wish Foundation? No more? All right, here's a question, and it made me think about my mistake, so think about this. WWE must have something going on. What athlete, actor, musician is granted the most wishes? Anybody know?
John Cena.
John Cena. The only reason I know that is we both went to Springfield College and made promoted all the time. And it's not even close. I mean, he's done like 200 stuff. It's not even close. Our next speaker, and I forgot to mention this earlier, is Bleier is also in the Aquinas Hall of Fame. I forgot to mention it. Sorry about that.
Hey guys, I know a lot of you, I've met a lot of you. I think I'm going to take a different angle, having the chance to talk to everybody here today. I want to tell you a little bit about my story, and I've made a ton of notes, and I want to make sure that I give you something to take away. I want you to have a memory of what we talk about, and I want you to kind of apply it to your own lives as you go out into the community in the next day, in the next week, in the next year, your whole life. So what I've found is that there's things in your life that always become momentous. There's something that happens that forces you to motivate, to move forward, something that deeply, deeply moves you. And if you think back at your young lives now, there are those things that you can recall that have done that for you. And my motivation began at a very young age. And I look back at things that happened in my life, and I wonder why they happened. And as you age, you start to understand and realize why they did. 8 years old, driving my bike down my street, there's a sign on a telephone pole that says, Grease Chargers football. I drive my bike home, I beg my parents to let me play football. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. My mother did not want me to do it. I begged and begged and begged and pleaded. Finally, I was able to play football with Grease Chargers. What kind of community was in the Grease Chargers? It was an Aquinas community. At 8 years old, I met so many people from the school, so many people that taught here, so many families that graduated here, and I knew at 8 years old I was coming to Aquinas. Living in Greece near Olympia, I left all my friends. I came to Aquinas because this is the place I wanted to be at. It motivated me, it moved me, and I was blessed to be in this community. So from here, it's about opportunity again. And I've talked to a bunch of you before, and I have this statement that I use often. If the opportunity comes, take it. If it doesn't come, make it. That was on the locker room ceiling at my college. I touched it every day in the locker room. The opportunity comes, take it. If it doesn't come, make it. So I'm at Aquinas. I'm where I want to be. I'm playing football, basketball, and baseball. I love it here. I absolutely love it here. I wasn't a very good football player. Tyler, you're a much better quarterback than I was in high school. By far. By far. But I knew that, I think I had that X factor. The X factor was given to me here at Aquinas through my faith, through my family, through my friends. I had that X factor. And again, something really, really important happened in my life in 1982 when I graduated. Eastman Kodak Company, who most of you are not familiar with, was a big supporter of college football. They had a clinic every year in Texas, and there was a graduate of Aquinas by the name of Hunter Lowe, who was at that conference, at a coffee table with the running backs coach from the University of Richmond. He heard him say, "We need a young quarterback." This gentleman, who was an Aquinas grad, turned to him and said, "There's a kid at my high school in Rochester, I don't know anything about him. He's a quarterback, he's got good size, and he's a great kid. He has a great head on his shoulder. Never been in trouble. Great student. That coach took my name down. They called me. Asked me to come visit them. At the time, Richmond was an independent Division I school that played in the SEC. Georgia, South Carolina, East Carolina, Louisville, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech. Huge, huge Division I independent school. Fly down there. I'm going to the university. I'm actually going to go to Hobart and play basketball, Division III. Fly down to Richmond, 2 days. Down there 2 days. They said to me, we looked at one of your films. It was the only film we threw the ball. I handed the ball my whole career. We didn't throw the ball much. They looked at one film. Talk about opportunity. Sat down with the head coach. He said, Bob, we want to give you a full scholarship. We want you to be a Richmond Spider. Blew my mind. You talk about opportunity to now have your education paid for free. What a motivator. What an incredible motivator. I head down to Richmond. I get redshirted my freshman year. I tell myself, there's no way I'm going to play. I'll be on the roster. I'll have an education. I want to play football. There's no way I'm going to play. I go home that summer, I talk to my dad. My dad goes, guess what? You're not leaving Richmond. You're not coming home to Rochester to go to the University of Rochester and play basketball or football. You're staying at Richmond to get your education paid for. That summer, I'm motivated to throw myself. To run, lift, throw. Get back to Richmond. Redshirt freshman. 5 games into the season, here comes the opportunity. If the opportunity comes, take it. If it doesn't come, make it. 5 games into the season, we're 0-5. We're playing a team from Florida. 2 minutes left in the game, the coach taps me on my shoulder, and for 2 years I sat on the sideline with my helmet under my arm, cheering on my teammates. Watching games. Taps me on my shoulder, he goes, Bob, you're going in. Holy cow, coach. I go in the game, and I prepared myself for my one moment. I prepared myself for that one moment. If the opportunity comes, take it. If it doesn't come, make it. Complete 8 passes in a row to last for a touchdown. Started 44 games in a row at Richmond. Never came off the field. Changed the entire offense around throwing the ball. But back in the 80s, colleges ran the ball. Game's different today. So why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because I've had challenges throughout my entire life. When you look back at things that have motivated you or turning points in your life, you will realize them as you age. A lot of you have had them at this time. You're facing challenges now. Whether it's peer pressure, family pressure, issues at school. You're facing a lot of those challenges now. I challenge you to rise above. I'm challenging you to rise above. So I told you, if the opportunity comes, take it. If it doesn't come, make it. One of the things that also motivates me is a theory that I created for myself called full throttle. And I would encourage you to write that down, full throttle. What does that mean? It means you go hard and you go strong. Your entire life for everything you do. What does the F stand for? Faith in God and belief. Family should always, always be one of your priorities. Your future. And when we say future, what does that mean? Your school, right? Schooling, your education. Everything you do to keep yourself and your family safe is about your future. And we cannot forget about the love we have for our friends. And that's why you're all here. You love the community, you love your friends. So full throttle, the F is faith, family, future, and friends. Throttle. T. One of the things I learned as I became older is that there's a lot of people out there in need. Okay? And some of us are trying to find a little bit of a purpose in what we're doing. So what I've come to grow and learn and talk about often is time, talent, and treasure. Okay, that's the T of my throttle. So what does that mean? Time. You may think you don't have time to do anything. You're working hard at school, you're all in extracurricular stuff. I don't have the time to help others. That's not true. You always have time to help others and do it. So find time to do things. Talent. What do I mean by talent? If you're good at something, accounting, education, leadership, that's a talent. You can give that talent to charities and nonprofits and people in need as well. You don't always have to give time, you can give your talent. And then lastly, it's your treasure. What's treasure? It's your resources, it's your money. I know all of us can do one of those things at every point in our lives. Some of us can do all three. But if you find a charitable urge or charitable need, give your time, your talent, your treasure, and bring in an acts of kindness. I hate talking about myself, I truly do. But I remember sitting where you guys are and hearing speakers that I really that I respected, that were role models of mine. And I think it's important to share some of this stuff with you so that you have a takeaway. And again, talking about myself is something I don't like to do, but I think it's important for you to understand, random acts of kindness, doing something without needing acknowledgement. And I'll just give you one example. And I don't talk about this stuff to anyone. I just do it every day in my life. I was at a gas station. Guy pulls up next to me. Got a veteran hat, World War II vet. Could hardly walk. Gets out of the car, it's freezing cold out. Gets out of the car, stumbles over to the pump. I see him standing there for a while because I'm on the other side pumping gas. I hear him mumbling and talking. He puts the pump back and goes around the side of his car. I walk over to the gentleman. I said, "Sir, what's wrong?" He said, "Well, I can only do credit cards here. I don't own a credit card." So I started talking to him. He was a veteran, 84 years old. I brought him back over to his side of the pump, swiped my card, filled his tank, started hauling. Awesome, awesome moment. We hugged, we talked. He went his way, I went my way. I get in the car, and my boys were in the car. My 4 sons were in the car with me. They said, "Dad, what'd you do?" I said, just talking to that guy, he needs some help with the pump. Doing things like that motivate you, they drive you, they give you purpose. You need to have that kind of attitude coming from this community, coming from this school. Random acts of kindness are paramount. It should happen all the time. It should be part of your life. I just got a couple more points, and I don't want to forget to talk about them, so I'm going to look at my notes here real quick. Okay? All right. Okay, so what motivated me? I have a bunch of motivators in my life, and you need to identify some. One of them was my cousin who played for the Steelers, Rocky Bleier. 4 Super Bowl rings. Vietnam vet. Had his foot blown up. Was never going to play football again. He has a book called Fighting Back. If any of you want to reach out to me and get a signed copy of that book, I'll give it to you. All right? Fighting Back. Was never supposed to walk again. Rehab. Came back. Made the Steelers 4 Super Bowls. He and I are like this now. Talk all the time. He motivates me every day. I drive because of him. Another one. Take this name down. This guy is a superstar. His name is Leland Melvin. None of you have ever heard of him. No one's ever heard of him. He was my all-American wide receiver at Richmond. Wide receiver. Gets drafted by the Detroit Lions. Blows out his knee. Can never play football again. But guess what? Rhodes Scholar in college. Highly educated. Goes to NASA as a rocket scientist. Goes up in space 3 times. Astronaut. NFL Hall of Fame. He has a display in the Hall of Fame in NFL because he's the only player to ever get drafted and go in space. He's in the NFL Hall of Fame. He's never played in an NFL football game. You talk about motivation and a driver. I love this guy. He wrote a book called Chasing Space. If you want to see the book, if you want a signed copy, you let me know. You like to read. He's a motivator. How many of you know Bonobos? Heard of Bonobos? Website, clothing website. He was just announced as one of the role models. for bonobos. Google him. He's a rock star. Get to know him. He motivates me. So I wanted to let you know. Identify those people. Bless you. Identify those people in your life that motivate you, because they keep you going. And then lastly, and I've talked to you before, I think, when you were in 8th grade. Do any of you remember me? Okay. All right. So, you know about the dash, right? I talk about that all the time, the poem, The Dash. If you don't know about it or you haven't read it, find it. And here's the deal. We all know the date of birth, when we were born. When you walk through a graveyard or a cemetery, there's 2 dates. The date someone was born, the date they died. Right? My question has always been, who is that person? What have they done with their life? That's the dash. The dash on that gravestone is your entire life. It makes it very insignificant when it's only that big. How big's your dash going to be? Do stuff that motivates. Random acts of kindness. Do those things. And again, I've had a blessed life. I've told you about Aquinas, told you about Richmond, and I had one more opportunity after Richmond. And that was to play in the NFL. Amazing. A goal since I was a little kid. So I leave Richmond, I go to the NFL Combine, sign a contract with the Patriots in the 80s, play for 2 years. I have nothing to complain about. Absolutely nothing. But you know what? Stuff wasn't handed to me either. And if you're not driven, if you're not motivated, if you don't care about your community, your families, your people, you don't care about life or helping, then you're going to kind of spin in one place. You spin your wheels. You're going to get in a rut. And I always tell people, you don't coast uphill. You coast what? Down. Don't coast. Because if you coast, you're going down. Never coast. Because you don't coast uphill. So where does that lead me? 1987. 1988. I volunteer at Camp Good Days and Special Times. How many of you are familiar with Camp Good Days? Awesome organization. Help children with cancer. I volunteered in 1988. Get on the board in 1995. Become board chair and president in 2000. Why am I there? It's not because I feel blessed that my kids are healthy. It's because people need help. It's that simple. People need help. So find a purpose. Make something of your life. Random acts of kindness. If the opportunity comes, take it. If it doesn't come, make it. Make an impact. Aquinas students have to make an impact. We demand it from you as alumni. Make an impact. Do something special. And I'm telling you, don't ever think you're above anyone else. Don't look down on anyone. You're not too big. And always be humble. No matter how good you are, whatever you do, always be humble. So anybody anything to write down in the notebook for that? Hopefully that can motivate you. So I'm really honored to be here today. And I will do anything and everything for Aquinas tradition does not graduate. That's for sure.
Hopefully you see that you get a diverse panel here, the 70s, 80s, 2000s, different types of charitable works. So I'm going to open it up to questions now, and the way we'll do this is if you have questions. And I'll call on you. I will repeat the question because someone's in front and I'm here in the back. Just let me know, is it for somebody specific, or is it for just an open question to any and all the panelists? Make sense? Excellent. Questions, comments, and or concerns? Anybody awake?
I saw him scribbling.
So, yeah, I did see people taking notes. So, yes, question, yes.
For Robert, what's your cousin's name?
Rocky Bleier.
The question was his name. Rocky Bleier also went to Notre Dame.
Can you spell that, please?
Won a national championship in Notre Dame. Rocky Bleier. Maybe it is a good story. And I think, to add on to that, surround yourself with good people. That's really how you get to these places. Other questions, comments? Yes.
This one's for Marty. It's a two-part question. First is, what is your job title and what do you do for your job?
Okay, the question was to Marty, what is his job title and what does he do for his job?
So I'm the Director of Operations. I work at Harris Corporation. In Rochester, there's two parts of the Harris segment, and I work in the communication segment. We make radios for 120 countries in the world. Our customers are primarily departments of defense, so it would be military. Been there for quite a while, and my responsibilities are, I have a large group, 300 plus people, just leading them to meet the objectives we have.
And then the second question is, how do you feel that your Catholic values conflict with your job, considering that you collaborate with large departments of defense?
That is a fantastic question. Absolutely fantastic question. It can become a struggle. And the part that I find to be more of a struggle is not so much the dilemma of working with the Department of Defense, because the products that we make actually save lives. The products that we make actually make a difference, rescuing, saving people, protecting us, protecting our freedoms as Americans. So there's, I think, a lot of things that our company does that are in sync with the values. What I find more difficult is the capitalist nature of a public company. Is more in conflict with the Catholic traditions of giving and taking care of each other. And that's, to me, that's a bigger struggle. That's a harder one to reconcile each and every day. That's a fantastic question. Two quick things. In my office, there's a large photo signed by a famous Pittsburgh Steeler. It's Rocky Bleier. And the thing I love to tell people, his cousin went to my high school.
You went to great question. Other questions? Doesn't have to be that great. Doesn't have to be I have to ask a question. How many hours of community service does sophomores do you have to do this year?
8 per semester.
8 per semester, so 16 for the year.
Yeah.
So, obviously the first semester's done. How many have completed the 8 for the second semester? Less than that. How many? So everybody else still has to. We have 3 opportunities. We have Family Foundation, Your Child with Cancer, and Camp Good Days. Excellent.
Yeah.
Who has done none of the 8? It's okay, plenty here up. I think half of you are still lying, but that's all right. Again, questions about either anything they've said about themselves or about the charities that they're connected with? Yes, sister.
Not a question, but one thing I was just saying with the charities you're connected with, we have worked with the brunch at, Cure, and we have helped out with the auction at Camp Good Days and Special Times. So anytime you have something, to let us know, because I'll have it posted on the website, because when we get to April, which is the end of the second semester, and service hours have to be in, students do look there for what are some opportunities. Many of them get them on their own, but it would be good to, if things are going on, let us know, because we're glad to post them. And they're glad to receive them.
Holly, is Care doing the fun run in the spring? What is the date for that?
Me again, I'm not as inspiring. Wow, I'm probably ignoring when I'm talking. We have our 10th annual 5K Fun Walk. It's April 27th, so I know it's probably towards the end of the semester, but I'm sure we can work something out with you guys.
Well, and the other piece is, if something comes after April 26th, you can start working on next year's. There's always room for more. And the thing is, we do have an award now at the end of the year. If students do 20 hours above the minimum, so the sophomore minimum is 16, you get 20 hours above that, you're eligible for the St. Joseph the Worker Community Service Award. And what I keep telling the students, the more outreach you do, it looks good. It looks good when you're looking for a job. It looks good when you're going to college. Plus, it's good for you. Even if you didn't get anything back, it's just good for you. So, even if it's after that you have something, or through the summer, seniors work during the summer, we're always open to opportunities. Whenever.
Yeah, if anyone's ever looking for hours, I always have stuff to do. We help over 1,500 families a year, and I have 4 staff members, so we do a lot.
And your offices are in Elmwood area?
West Bottom. And how many hours is it for junior year?
Same. 16 for the year.
Okay, and same for
And
senior?
seniors are 20 in the summer before senior year.
Oh, 20 before. Okay, so 16 in junior year and then 20 in summer before senior year.
Yes.
And any last questions, comments? Anything else last in closing from the panel? Well, thank you so much for coming today. It was greatly appreciated. And I know their day is just really beginning. They're actually heading out. Right? And evening, yes.
So I want to personally thank our panel. I want to personally thank our panel for taking time out of your busy day to come in and spend time with these wonderful young people and our chaperone. And we appreciate you sharing all of your wonderful, inspiring stories and motivating us to move forward with our day. Take a little break pretty soon, and then we will move forward. But thank you so much again. We appreciate it. And we might call you back again. Thank you so much. Another round. Ladies and gentlemen,